Hey everybody, welcome to the well, it's not a podcast anymore. It's a Zoom uploaded to YouTube. So however we do it, it's gonna get done. I'm Adam Biggers. You can follow my stuff right about Michigan football for Saturday Tradition. Follow them on Twitter at Tradition. Find them on SaturdayTradition.com. And really great interview tonight. Special guest, especially if you're the hardcore Michigan fans are absolutely talking about JJ all the time. So I want to welcome JJ McCarthy tonight. So JJ, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it, Adam.
Yeah, not a problem. And I don't know where to begin, man. This is my main question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like to have a fan base? Michigan fans are putting all of their faith. It's like in JJ McCarthy, they trust. I mean, what is that pressure like for such a young guy, knowing that there are literally tens of thousands of Michigan Wolverines football fans who are just hoping and praying that you are that guy?
I'm not too much worried about it because I know that I haven't proved anything yet. So my main focus is just going into there day one and working as hard as I possibly can, and then just work on my craft the best I can. And the pressure is always going to come. There is no championships or anything like that without pressure. So that's just always been something I've been used to since 8th grade when I got my first offer. So it's kind of the experience part of it that doesn't really get to me.
You're number 2 ranked pro style quarterback in your class. I think you're number 22 overall in the 2021 class. I want to talk about your high school career too, because I read a stat. I think you didn't throw any interceptions this year as a senior, and didn't you only throw like something like 6 picks or something like that throughout your entire high school career?
I think it was like around 13 or something like that picks, but it had to do with the receivers that I was playing with, and of course with the decision making and all the mental aspects of playing the position. But I mean, the receivers I had, I was so blessed to have those guys, and especially it was every single year I had tremendous receivers that really helped me out and made me look good, and I had a great offensive line that every single year. So I mean, being able to walk into that position at Michigan to have those guys that I know I'm going to be able to throw to and put anywhere on the field and they're going to go get it is something that I'm really excited about, and hopefully we'll be able to keep that consistent with the very less frequent turnover game and all that stuff, because I mean, all the coaches always say ball security is job security and all that stuff. So right. I believe that's the most important thing, is just no turnovers.
IMG, I think you guys were number 1 the entire fall, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I mean, leading a high profile program like IMG, I mean, I'm just trying to kind of wrap my head around this, because it's so much. I don't want to say that you don't realize it. Maybe you will once you get to Michigan, but I mean, there's just so much I feel like the Michigan fans are putting on you. And, being a young guy, I mean, you just want to play football. You just want to go to college and play football. Yeah. And, there's a lot of other things. You got these, 40 and 50-year-old middle-aged men who are just obsessing over JJ McCarthy is the next. It's just kind of it's a weird dynamic, I guess. And to have that much attention, that young, to have that much pressure, to have that much expectations just kind of set on you like that.
Yeah. It kind of like showed how big and passionate the fan base was right away when I first committed, and my social media just blew up from it. And I was like, wow, like I feel like it was more of a reassurance thing for me, because I want to walk into a program where it's going to be a die-hard passionate fan base. And like, who wouldn't want to walk into that situation? So if I like any person who's striving to be great and striving to do great things is gonna have that come with them. It's inevitable. So I took that upon me at such an early age, and I accepted it. So now it's just, I mean, this is what I wished for. So you have to be able to control it and have to be able to steady focus on what the main objective is, and that's winning games for the University of Michigan and just going in there and doing whatever I can.
Well, there's a lot of sayings that I just kind of thinking of. You could throw a lot of sayings to who much is given, much is expected, or maybe not given but earned. You know, I mean, if you earn a certain status, and you know, there, like you said, there's going to be those expectations with it. So I mean,
Right.
And this is something else that I want to touch on though too, because obviously your tweet a few weeks ago, kind of reassuring Michigan fans and telling them to kind of take a step back and take some deep breaths. I've read some of the interviews that there was recently one with Michigan Insider. You know, talking about you have that that charisma, that kind of calmness, that leadership. Where did you get that from? And it's obviously going to benefit you as a quarterback in the recruiting class. Where'd you get that from?
I believe I was just kind of born with it, just with the sports I've played and the positions and the experiences that I went through, and playing the quarterback. That is you're supposed to be the leader, and that is the job that you take once you say you're going to be playing quarterback. So when I made that decision to play the position that I love, is I was signing up for the kind of role that was needed in order to win games, the role that Michael Jordan played, Kobe, Tom Brady, all Russell Wilson, pretty much every leader out there. I would just consistently and constantly study them and study their mindsets, and it kind of only forged a mindset of my own that now I can like keep adding on through all the experiences and all the lessons that life teach me. So it's a lot had to do with it, being at IMG and the maturing factor that came with it. And it was just something that comes naturally to me now, and something that I want to be the guy that everyone can count on. You know what I mean? I want to be the guy that is always going to be consistently working his butt off and always consistently like in the film room. I want to be that guy because that's just like naturally who I am.
Right, and people in those positions, when you're in those type of positions of you know, whether it's in sports or life in general, if you're in one of those positions of authority, management, leadership, you welcome that. You, like you said, that's you signed up for it. That's what you wanted.
Right.
Tell me about your relationship with the rest of the 2021 class, and just as a whole. I know that you've talked a lot about earlier about it being a brotherhood, and you want to kind of establish that. Tell me about your chemistry with your fellow recruits in the 21 class, and kind of levels of communication with those guys.
Those guys are awesome. Every single one of them. I haven't met a lot of them yet, but of the ones I've met, it's just everything you want in a football teammate, everything you want in a friend, everything you want in a brother. So I'm so excited to be able to walk in playing with those guys.
Well, I want to shift gears here a little bit. I mean, you have eyes, you have ears. You've seen on social media. You've heard about it probably on TV. What do you make of just there's like 20 different layers of the Jim Harbaugh situation, I feel like, that I want to cover. What do you make of, I guess, when people are talking about Jim might not be there, Jim replace him with Matt Campbell? I mean, some of these suggestions to me are ridiculous. I mean, I've heard replace him with a former Michigan player. I mean, just everybody that you can think of. What is it like for you going into the situation and seeing all of this kind of this negativity, a lot of rumors? Is Jim going to the NFL? I mean, that seems to be past 3-4 years, you know, pretty common. What's going through your mind when you see all of that?
I mean, with everything I know one thing. That's the thing. Like, I always base my opinions and judgments off of what I truly know, and not something that I make of an assumption or assume that something's going to happen. But I know that Jim Harbaugh is a phenomenal coach, and I want to be coached by him for all my years of football. And right now, the only thing I know is as much as everyone else does. But I choose to look on the neutral side of everything and understand what's going on right now instead of always jumping to the next thing, like always like, who's going to replace this if this happens? Who's going to do this? Because that's going to come if it does come. And then right now it's not. So I'm only worried about like the present moment right now. And right now he's my head coach and I can't wait to play for him. That's how I'm feeling right now.
I don't want to get to and throughout my career covering Michigan, that was always something I never liked to feed into the assumptions, the BS, whatever you want to call it. But let me run this past you just in theory. In theory, if Jim Harbaugh is not the coach at Michigan, does JJ McCarthy attend Michigan?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I love every single one of those coaches on the staff right now. But the main reason why I committed to Michigan was because of the opportunities that the university provides me and the just tremendous attributes of the football program and of the education is just everything I want to be a part of. So no matter who's in there, I'm staying there and the same attitude going in.
What is your relationship like with Jim Harbaugh? And I'll preface it by saying this, that I always thought Jim and I have had all kinds of exchanges. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube. Sometimes it took me 2 minutes to spit out my question and get answers out of him. But I always felt like Jim and I had a pretty good understanding. And he's one of those people, I think, a lot of people, they either get him or they don't get him. What is your relationship like with Jim, and what do you make of his personality? How often do you guys communicate?
I love it. I mean, the amount of experience that he's been through and the knowledge that he contains is just something that I gravitate towards because of his football IQ and his emotional IQ is just something that is really astonishing to me, just everything he goes through and the way he's able to keep a calm, level head every single time he walks in that building. And it's something that his personality is just it's one of the unique ones, and it's one of the ones that are different, and in everything that is successful, it's always something different than the crowd. So that's the thing. Everyone has their flaws and imperfections, but if you only concentrate on their flaws, you're never going to see what's good about them. And Bill Belichick talks about that all the time, about tell me what he can do, not what he can't do. And I mean, I can't wait to be coached by a former quarterback and a former first round quarterback and a former coach who coached Andrew Luck and Colin Kaepernick and et cetera, all those guys. Like, I just can't wait for that.
Man, you're well studied. You know his background. It's you seem you just have that kind of aura to you. I mean, you're definitely going to be successful regardless. And what is tell me a little bit about. I mean, you've been committed to Michigan since like May of 2019, right? I mean,
yeah,
like
yes, sir.
Months, and recruiting lifespan, that's forever. So walk me through the initial, you get the offer, walk me through that, how'd that go about when you first met Harbaugh, and maybe any little details about your first meeting with Jim.
He actually offered me at my girlfriend's house, and it was the day that Wisconsin offered me as well as Purdue, and that's when the whole recruiting process.
Did he show up to your girlfriend's house to offer you?
Say that again.
I said, did he show up to your girlfriend's house to offer you?
No, sir. No, sir. Yeah, he connected with my head coach.
He might do that.
Yeah, if he did that, that would be awesome. That would be awesome to shake his hand right there. But it was my head coach told me to contact him, gave me his number, and it was really cool because I never really looked into to Michigan that much. And when he called me, and it was immediate, that like connection right away, that like, oh, I know in my back pocket I could go play for that guy, because he was one of the only head coaches who actually offered me. A lot of them were just positional coaches and specialist coaches sometimes, and there's I don't know how many head coaches, but he was one of the few, and it was really special. Like, he really was relating to me when he was offering me, and it wasn't just here's your scholarship, talk to you and like when you get here type relationship. So it was good. It was awesome.
So do you talk to him? You guys text? I mean, what's that communication level like right now?
We talk here and there. I mean, he's got his stuff going on, especially, and I got my stuff going on. So we're gonna meet up at some point, and we're just kind of checking in every now and then.
Tell me a little bit. I know that you've said, you kind of just knew it when you went to Michigan, when you visited, but I know you mentioned Wisconsin offered. I know Ohio State offered. You had like 33 or 34 offers. What was it like having to sift through all of those and kind of make your decision? And then ultimately when Michigan came in to the picture, how did that kind of change the landscape for you?
It was really a blessing to be able to get that much recruitment and that much exposure. And it was an awesome process. I mean, a lot of phone calls, a lot of awesome conversations with a lot of great people. So it was really cool. And just kind of, I knew my values going into it, and I knew what school I wanted to be at and what football team and coach I wanted to play for, but prior to all the offers coming in. So I was just kept in the back of my head, and every visit I went on, I always told myself it's got to be that indescribable feeling that you get at a university that is going to be the place to be. And I got that in Michigan.
I know Yale offered you, I think, Northwestern. So, I mean, obviously you have the academics to go along with the athletics. What are you eyeing as a possible major once you get to Michigan?
I'm definitely business related for sure. With one of my goals is to get into the Ross Business School, but there's so much to the university that I haven't yet like really dove into yet. So I'm excited to get there and be able to get my gen eds out of the way, and then be able to experience some of the new stuff that I haven't been exposed to in high school.
Tell me a little bit about, I guess, yourself, whether this is football related or not. How do you, and I'm asking you this because of the leadership thing, it kind of ties into that. How do you accept defeat? How do you accept, not winning, it not coming out in your way? I mean, is there a time that you've just been knocked down and you had to get yourself back up again? I mean, how?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it was a year ago, exactly, like a couple of days ago, where I lost the state championship my junior year, and it was an embarrassing loss. And right after that, I was in extreme like disappointment. But at the end of it, where I am now, I realized that was the best thing that ever happened to me, easily, because the work ethic that was kind of exposed after it, and the tenacity that I went into every workout and every football situation since then has been just pure trying to exceed excellence every single day. So it, like Will Smith says, when you hit what you think is failure is only produced in your mind of what you think is success, and you compare it to it. But when you hit that failure point, it's actually the greatest teacher of everything you possibly could go through in your life. I mean, when you hit that failure point, it's all right, I'm that much closer to getting to my goal. All right, I'm not going to go this way, so I'm going to take this path. So I always take everything that happens to me is a God-given lesson, and I always think of the positive, what's going to be coming out of this positive wise, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I take that with everything that God puts in front of me.
When you get to Michigan, obviously, Joe Milton, Cade McNamara, those are going to be top two contenders. I mean, how do you evaluate those guys? I mean, when you see them on TV, performance-wise, I mean, where do you think that you fit in kind of into that mix? Because it's not often. I think the last true freshman, it's been more than 10 years since a true freshman's even started at Michigan. It's not something that typically ever happens. Kind of what are your thoughts on that, having to go in and there's going to be competition for the job right off the rip?
I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait to get in that room with those guys and be able to compete every day and actually go against two really, really good quarterbacks and be able to just learn from them and take it and implement some of their stuff into my game and just kind of pick their brains and everything like that. But, I mean, they're both tremendous quarterbacks, and I love seeing how hard they're playing and how much passion they're putting into every game, and it's going to be really fun to go into that type of atmosphere that I'm seeing on TV.
Now, do you know those guys personally? Have you maybe exchanged texts or whatever? Ever communicate?
I just talked to them like when I would visit or something like that, and we hit each other up on social media sometimes. So it's that type of stuff. Joe's my boy. Joe's awesome. We've been probably connecting more than Kate and I, but I talked to Kate a lot when I was visiting. So,
okay. Got a couple more questions for you tonight, JJ. And once again, thank you for your time. What is it? It's been a rough year for Michigan. There's no other way to say it. What is it like for you? Just kind of, I'm assuming you're watching the games and keeping tabs on them. What is it like from your perspective, as far as, okay, it's like, well, they're not having an ideal season. Next year it's going to be, got to get to work harder than ever. During
right.
that era. I mean, what's your take on that?
I mean, I'm extremely excited because if you gave me two teams to go to, one that was complacent coming off of a great year, or one who's licking their chops to get back out on the field and make a statement, I'll take that team. I don't care what the record is or what the track record was from the past years. Like, I'm watching the games knowing that I'm not there yet. I can't make an impact. I'm rooting on my guys and my coaches and my school, but I'm not going to let it affect or sway my viewpoint on the school or anything or the program. So, I mean, it's almost making me more excited because it's making other recruits excited too. Like, when we were watching the Michigan game, we were just like, wow, what a freaking opportunity we have in front of us to come in there and help make a change and help turn this program around. And it's really, I'm really really, really excited to get there and just be able to get working and be a part of that team.
I can see how you reacted. You definitely come across as a guy who's ready. You welcome the challenge. You want to get in there. Before we go, let's play a little bit of a word association right now. First word that comes to mind when you hear Jim Harbaugh.
Uber intelligent.
When you well, Jim was the main one. Michigan football, though. What's the one word that comes to mind when you hear Michigan football?
Tradition.
And there's a lot of it. And when you look at a program with that much tradition and to even be a little part of it, that's got to be exciting too, right?
Yeah, that's so awesome. So awesome.
Big Ten football.
Toughness. Yeah. Gritty.
Well, that's good. That's about all. I have a more a lengthier list, but maybe we could get in that to another time. I don't want to keep you too long. So again, thanks to JJ McCarthy, Michigan's 5-star quarterback commit 2021 class. He's the number 2 ranked pro style quarterback of his class, number 22 ranked player overall. Led IMG all year to a number 1 national ranking. You guys were 8-0 on the season, correct?
Yes, sir.
No interceptions, and what was it, 16 touchdown passes?
I think something like that. I'm not sure. It's probably around there.
All right. Well, JJ, I look forward. We'll have to catch up again before you get to Michigan. Wish you the best of luck in Ann Arbor, and thanks to everybody who's watching, and we'll see you next time. So I'm Adam Biggers.
See you next.
That's JJ McCarthy. And
thank you so much for having me.
No problem, JJ. Thanks for the interview, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Have a nice night.
You too.